We want to welcome you to Unity of Tacoma as we gather to celebrate divine peace that lives within each of us. And it lives there for our higher good and for the greater good around us. Thank you so much for joining us today. And right here, right now, I can affirm that you are in the right where you are supposed to be. Amen. So we're going to start off with our announcements. And here is Victoria.
Now is
Victoria's
that,
going to unmute and then give us our announcements.
oh, it says I am unmuted. Huh, don't know. Am I on now? Can you
You're
hear
on.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start over. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad you are too. I think our biggest announcement today has to do with our Unity of Tacoma outreach, and that happened yesterday for our Sandwich Saturday, the first of the month event that we have where we make 100 sack lunches. Yesterday, we thought there might just be two of us doing that, and it ended up there were 10 people involved yesterday. They just kept coming and coming with so much bounty. We had a whole giant bag of pillows and blankets and another giant bag of clean clothing all ready for people to have, along with all of our sack lunches. It was 2 carloads full of stuff that we took to the Kingfisher tiny home project out there at 84th and Hosmer. And so grateful to do it. And they were so excited to have us. Now, to follow that announcement, normally we're the first Saturday of every month making sandwiches, but in the month of January, we are going to do it in the middle of the month. And I will be announcing that date when we get closer to the time, but it will be different in January. But we will be there and we will be making sandwiches. So everybody put that in your mind for mid-January. And in the meantime, I hope you all have happy holidays and wishing you all the best with much gratitude for what we have and what we can share. And that's all I've got for today.
Well, great. Let's move on to the prayer of protection together. Prayer for protection. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Breathe. Take a breath. I'm going to say that last sentence. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So Nelson Mandela said, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And so similarly, I think that inner peace does not come from the absence of challenges, trauma, and physical pain, but rather it gives us the power to thrive in spite of such things. And so as we move, before I start talking, I'm going to read some sacred and inspirational readings. So the first one comes from John 14:27. Jesus said, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. Paul wrote in his letter to the young church in Philippi, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, which means I shall not want for anything. He provides me green pastures to lie down in. I'm going to change that wording because I like it better. Fits better for what the intention is. God leads me beside still waters and restores my soul. And even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And from Ernest Holmes, he writes, if we find ourselves surrounded by confusion, we should meditate on peace until we feel a sense of peace. Then, as the mind returns to its objective state, it brings an atmosphere of peace with it, which dispels the confusion just as light dispels the darkness. Thus, our meditation becomes a practical thing. It has an actual value in everyday experience. So several times I subbed for a fourth grade class, and they had this ritual where they would meet sometime in the morning, and they'd all get out of their desks and come and sit in a circle, and they would pass a talking piece around the circle, and they would share about themselves. And one of the prompts was, today I'm feeling. And a few of the students would simply pass the talking piece along, didn't want to share. But most of them, they either shared what they were feeling or they shared what they were feeling and explained why they were feeling that way. Remember, one student said, today I'm feeling sad because my mom forgot to wake me up this morning, and so I was late for school. And I thought, as a teacher, I'm like, that's a great thing right there, to be sad that you're late for school. But the thing that really impressed me was the students that would pick more than one emotion. They would say, I'm feeling this, this, and this. And not only would they pick a variety of emotions, sometimes they seem to oppose each other, but then they would explain why they had each one of those emotions. And I thought, this is so cool that fourth graders realize that you can have more than one emotion going on. And it's not just about one thing. Say, how was your, a good day or bad day? Well, most of us don't have a good day or a bad day. We have a variety of things that happen during the day. There might have been a segment of it that was really not very fun or felt horrible, but it didn't make the whole day bad. So not clumping that together, realizing, okay, well, that hour was kind of miserable, but the rest of the day was quite joyful and pleasant. So I loved it that they had that. And so this fourth grade class was demonstrating a variety of, the different steps of emotional maturity, anywhere from not being able to acknowledge their feelings or not wanting to acknowledge them to different stages to where they could say, hey, I have several feelings and here's why I have these feelings. Now, I don't remember any of the students saying, I'm feeling a sense of peace. Now, there was happy and there was sad and there was excited. Um, but I don't remember them saying, I feel at peace or feel peaceful. Um, and feeling peaceful is like feeling calm, but I don't think it's a word that we use a lot. We use it a lot in the church. We talk about feeling at peace or being at peace, but not necessarily, I would say that's not necessarily something that we would talk about at school. But as these students showed, we can feel peaceful and we can feel other things at the same time. So when we talk about inner peace, it doesn't mean that has to be the only feeling that we have. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can interact with our emotions, our positive emotions, and some negative ones as well. Now, I want to make a distinction between events and feelings. So when I talked about earlier about feeling peace in the face of challenges, thinking again that challenges is an action, it's an event. Trauma is an event. Physical pain that somebody does to you is an event. Someone saying mean things to you, those are all events. But the anxiety that we feel, the hurt or the fear, those feelings are our emotions. And so they're very distinct things. We have events and we have our emotions. And we know, I'm not telling you anything new with this, that they are connected by our thoughts. So in a very simplistic process, I just want to say, just to reiterate stuff we kind of already know, because I know this group's talked about that. But first, we face a challenge. Aha, my supervisor comes in and says, hey, you've mismanaged this account. That's my challenge because all of a sudden I'm put in an interesting place. So second, I have beliefs and thoughts about what was said to me. And I might start thinking, is my job on the line? Does my supervisor still like me? Will this impact getting a raise? So those are questions, those are thoughts that might be going through my head. And then from there is I'm going to start to feel some emotions. I might feel anxious, dread, oh my gosh, confusing, like what is the person talking about, right? So I can feel those and I can feel them all at the same time. So now I want to stop just a little bit and look a little deeper. And I'm introducing you to um, uh, Brene Brown. So I want to put this up just so you can see. Oh, this is my title, Peace in the Face of Challenges. There we are. That's you. Visualize yourself at peace. So I want to talk about Brene Brown's book, Rising Strong. And she writes this in a way to like how to how to overcome painful experiences, how to bounce back, bounce up, how to be resilient, how to reset your button so that you're ready to handle the challenges that are before you. So I want to just her work is amazing. So if you haven't read any of her stuff, I think you can't go wrong with any book of hers that you want to. Good self-help books with a lot of open awareness. And it may not always be, it probably isn't a lot of new things per se, but new ways of looking at them, things that, get you and you go, oh, I hadn't thought of that before. So, well, in one chapter, she addresses the prevalent ways people mishandle their hurt. And therefore that keeps them from moving forward. And I want to touch on three methods that she talks about, and she calls chandeliering, bouncing, and numbing. So, chandeliering, that is when something small happens and the person it just explodes. They set off, they jump for the chandelier and grab it, right? It's like they're jumping out of their skin. And you go, well, what's wrong with that? Well, usually, if somebody's reacting so quickly to something small, it's usually a sign that they've actually stuffed their emotions down, their feelings down. So it's like, oh, if I stuff them, crunch them, crunch them, crunch them, crunch them, put them all down, and they're gone, right? And so I just kind of go along, and then something happens. I mean, this could be as easy as someone cutting you off in traffic, and then it's like, oh, bye, yeah, bye. You're losing it, and then someone's like, wow, you're losing it. You're like, well, yeah, did you see what they did? And you make a big deal out of this whole thing, right? And I'm just going to do a side on this. This is my new thing when I'm driving. If anyone like gets up behind me really closely and then they pass, or if they do something I don't like, I do this. So my first instinct is to do something else, but I turn around and I go, and it's two thumbs up. So you can see I'm not even holding the wheel. No, I have them on my leg. So if I can only do one hand, I do. But that's my way of changing my thought process of like, you freak that I don't like to, way to go. And it does, it changed my mentality. So just to throw that was a freebie that I'm giving you. Anyway, this whole Jack in the Box thing where you're holding it down and and then one little thing, boop, and pop, the person goes crazy. So, and we all know stuffing our feelings down isn't the thing to do, but oh my gosh, some of us are such masters of it. And partially because we don't always know what to do with it. It's uncomfortable, so why not shove it down, put it under the carpet, all that stuff until something happens. And then we make the biggest deal out of the littlest things and we think, wow, that was crucial. But we can handle those little things like, oh, and just lose it and then try to handle it. So chandeliering, jumping for the chandelier at the littlest things. The second one is bouncing hurt. And I like the titles that she gave these. So it's not like, again, they're necessarily new ideas, but I love the titles that she gave them because I can connect with them. So bouncing hurt. So it's that idea. It's when somebody approaches you, your supervisor comes to you and points out like, you mishandled this certain account. that the first thing you do is you turn around and you start blaming someone, or you get angry, or you avoid. In other words, you're bouncing off any kind of emotion you have with some kind of protection, some kind of like rubber shield, ba-boing, 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 and bouncing it off of you. And so a person that is sitting there and the supervisor comes in and says, hey, you kind of messed this up. They might immediately go, oh my gosh, it's because, my coworkers, they just weren't doing what they were supposed to do. And when my family, I'm having family problems at home, or another one might be, oh, I haven't been getting much sleep, so I was really tired. So there's a whole set of things that we can do. We can blame others or point at others. And then, of course, getting angry usually, really what that does is you're grabbing false power by grabbing being angry. And then people a lot of times will back down because they're like, oh, I'm not dealing with that, right? So you get what you want by doing that. You don't have to take any responsibility for yourself. You blame other people, and then the person who's approached you usually will turn and walk away because they don't really want to deal with it. So instead of dealing with uncomfortable feelings and taking responsibility, they're just going to point to other people. It's their fault. The third thing after chandeliering and bouncing hurt is numbing hurt. And again, this is not a new idea. We all know this scenario, using a substance or behavior to take the edge off the painful emotions. Unfortunately, I think, if you can constantly do this, it turns into addiction. And I think we have then there's books out there I've read, but I think we live in a very addictive society that there's so many things that we do, whether it's internet stuff, the activity of, shopping, or working, long hours, just things that we choose to do so that we don't have to feel anything. I had a friend who ate cookies every time he had a bad emotion. He would just throw cookies in his mouth. That was his way of numbing it. And I'm like, well, at least it's tasty, right? So, but Brene is really insightful here when she points out that numbing the darkness or the pain also helps us numb the light or the love that is within us. So you can't numb the darkness and the pain without numbing the rest of your life. And so I think of sometimes when I'm around people and there's not a lot of emotion, I wonder, like, what do they feel? And it's okay. I'm not for sure not putting them down, but I just noticed it's like some people don't have any feelings because they're so regulated and numbing and holding and controlling what they're feeling that they can't feel the joy uh, as much as they could if they weren't doing that. I'm going to read a quote that she does here. So Brene says, pretending not to be hurt is choosing to become imprisoned by the dark emotion we have experienced. Recognizing and feeling our way through the emotion is freedom. So I'm going to say that again. Recognizing and feeling our way through the emotion is freedom. And again, that's that social emotional maturity, being able to recognize and work your way through. That's what that is. She continues, it's seductive to think that not talking about our pain is the safest way to keep it from defining us. But ultimately, the avoidance takes over our lives. Let's just sit with that for a minute. Ultimately, the avoidance of pain takes over our lives. And I would add that with these three responses of chandeliering, bouncing, and numbing, they all prevent us from developing and maturing emotionally. That's what she's talking about. They prevent us from developing that inner state of peace, because peace is a feeling, but it's also an inner state of well-being. It's a way of being. So I think it's different from other feelings in that it's a feeling, but it's also an inner state. And you can also be in an inner state of anxiety. A lot of people experience that they're just a constant this anxiety. So what is, some of those emotions that can totally take over you? And peace can be one of those things. And of course, when we harbor resentment, anger, fear, and anxiety, and fear is a form of anxiety is a form of fear. We can have fleeting moments of peace, when we stuff that stuff down, like, oh, I feel good. But when something happens and we explode, that inner peace is gone. It's left the room. So what do we do instead? So I'm gonna cover three things, and the first one is Brené's idea, which I absolutely love, is she calls it permission slips. So you give yourself permission to feel when you're going to go into something uncomfortable. So if you're going into a meeting, you're going to have a talk about in a relationship, you're going to address a child about something you need to work through something at work, whatever it is. And she actually recommends get a post-it note and write on it, I give you permission to feel distraught. You can have permission to feel agitated. And just on that post-it note, write it down. It's like, I've got my permission slip. And then she says she just puts it in her pocket. So doing that, it's like you're going into something, taking a minute to say, what are the things that I might feel that I really don't want to? It's amazing how much it can take the edge off of what you're doing because you're giving yourself permission to go ahead and feel those things. And you put that by putting that in your pocket, it's an empowering element because it's like, look what I have. I have permission to feel annoyed. I have a permission to feel frustrated or whatever however you want to term the emotion. You're giving yourself permission to feel the uncomfortable feelings. Now, they may not come up, and sometimes they may dissipate just by doing that. But I think the best part is that by saying that, it's easier to then identify, and we know identifying what's going on with us is the first step to actually changing our thoughts, our thinking, right? So, are you going to do you feel unloved, misunderstood, dismissed? Write that down. It's okay if I have the permission to feel dismissed. Write it on that post-it note, put it in your pocket, then go to that event, attend that meeting, or make that phone call, make that appointment. So writing it down is a way of identifying it and then and acknowledging it. And the last thing she says about that is she advocates for exploring those feelings. And that's where I want to jump in with a new game that I've created. So it's called What Is This? And to do it, when I'm feeling like if I'm just going through the day, and the reason I got this came up is because I actually am very, very content with life at these moments these days. And by being content, when something washes over me that's not the feeling of content or peace, I'm like, what is this? And so I ask that question, and then I will explore some questions about it. Oh, Cindy. Yes, I would like to share how this works, how this game works. Well, it's not really a game. It's more of just an exercise. Yeah, well, yeah, whatever. So can I? Sure, that would be fine. Let's do that. Okay, so how this game works. Okay. So, usually when you play this game or play this, I keep going out of focus. Can you fix that? Yeah, let me fix that for just a second because we do not want you to go out of focus. So let me unblur us so we don't have to, so we can see all of your beauty. Thank you so much. Okay. So usually when I do this, I do it by myself, but it's kind of fun to do it with a friend, with somebody you trust. So can I, Cindy, can you do it with me? Yeah, I could do that. So I'm going to talk, it's going to be my situation, but you are going to ask me the questions. Okay, that sounds like that would work. Okay. So hang on. I had to move my script because I forgot what I was going to talk about. Okay. So yesterday I was getting ready for ballet and I felt a sick feeling in my stomach. So I said, "What is this?" I noticed quite clearly I had an uncomfortable feeling. So I thought, I'll explore this feeling. Okay, Cindy, so you ask the questions. Go ahead. Okay. So what is this feeling coming from?
let's see. Well, I tried out for the Nutcracker a few weeks ago and I got the lead role. Yay! That's excellent. But yesterday, some girls came up to me and told me I didn't deserve the lead. Hmm. And that I just got it because my dad was friends with the producer. I felt distraught. That's a good feeling word, distraught. Huh.
That is most certainly a good feeling word. Okay, so what is that? What was that telling you?
Hmm. I took it to mean that I wasn't good enough for the role, that the other girls didn't like me, and that I'm no good.
Well, that sounds kind of sad. Yeah. So what are you telling is what you're telling yourself true?
Oh, no. I worked hard for that part. I practiced extra hours with my coach and I didn't miss a step during tryouts. As a matter of fact, I have danced flawlessly at every performance so far.
Okay. So this is the part where you would just sit with your feeling and acknowledge it.
Okay. I feel distraught and unloved. That is how I'm feeling. I think I'm also feeling some shame.
Okay. Just sit with that until you feel the feeling dissipate.
Dissipate. Okay, I'm feeling distraught and unloved and some shame. Sit with it. How long do I have to sit?
You can do a short while or you can do a long while. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I think I'm feeling better.
Okay. Well, now the last part is how can you reframe your thinking?
Oh. Okay, well, I'm a very good ballerina and I worked hard to get that lead role. I cannot help it if others are jealous of my abilities. I'm going to hold my head up and dance. Here's a picture of me dancing with pride. Oh my gosh, that feels great. I feel so much better.
Okay. Now, if you get those feelings again, what will you do?
Oh, the same stuff over. I'll do it again. Or else I'll just shut them down. Just kidding.
Okay, nice one.
So yeah, I would just revisit my feelings, name them, feel them, and reframe my thinking. Well, I gotta go. I gotta go to practice. Bye.
Thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate you helping me out with this. Indeed. So, what is this? Is a mindful exercise. It's a mindful practice. So when I had that feeling the other day about, I felt dread. Oh, it was so short too. It was like I just kind of slipped by, and then I went, no, wait a sec, what was that? And then to sit with it, and maybe it took a few minutes to sit with it and identify and ask those questions that I had. But when I came up with the stuff, it's amazing how much power it doesn't have over you anymore. It is freedom, like Brene says. There's freedom in identifying those emotions. And the thing is, as we work through, and I'm talking about any of that kind of tough stuff, it opens up more and more space for peace within us. Now, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, emotions don't kill us. But if we don't work our way through them, they can set us up for disaster. And which is all quite sad, quite sad. And it's one of the reasons we don't have to do it all alone too, because we need the support of others when we are feeling like that. So just because I have some major distress does not mean I have to get through that alone. Matter of fact, I highly recommend you don't, that you find someone that you can work it through, that you can work through it with. The last point I want to make is that number 3, because we talked about her thing of giving yourself the permission slips. I talked about, questioning what is this? The third thing is just the best reminder that God is our peace. I'm going to pull up those texts again. And I love this text. So this first one where Jesus says, peace I leave with you. And he's saying this just before he's going to be crucified. So he's actually leaving. And so he's leaving something with them. And it's so powerful that this is what he's leaving. Is that peace, is it? Do not be troubled. Do not be afraid. Because they're going to experience some major things here. And this is the promise that he gives them. And that is something that is promised to all of us, no matter what we're facing, what we're going, is that peace is with us. We are peace. God is peace, and God in us or part of us or is us. We can be that peace. And then with Paul, sorry, I went back that for a second, where he talks to this church. It's a young church. I call it, I let you know it's a young church because they're just trying to figure things out. And so as they're going along, he comes in with some wisdom and just says, you know what? The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. And he's saying, you can fret and worry about this stuff, or you can just know that God is with you and be at peace as you move through this. So it's a way of addressing the things. In Psalm 23, and I'm not going to read through it again, but it is the image of a shepherd that's looking out for his or her sheep and providing. And there's so many people that when this scripture is one of those ones that's really close to a lot of people's heart, and they use this in times of trouble or when they're fretting. And just remembering how much God loves us so much that God is helping us, preparing a place for us, providing for us, anointing us, is with us, that all of those things, that somebody that's nurturing and caring for you. This is a beautiful image of a loving God. The only thing I am going to question is someone says, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. And I think that probably had something to do with, it's like, okay, look at me. I mean, it's not haughty like that, but it is this thing that's like, okay, you know how you people picked on you? Well, now look at what I'm doing for you, even in front of these people. So it's like, I care for you so much that other people are going to see how much that I'm caring for you. So again, peace within. And then Ernest Holmes, the part I want to highlight is that we should meditate on peace until we feel a sense of peace. And meditating on peace is when you sit and focus on peace and you find yourself breathing in, breathing out, relaxing, that you become peace. And so when in a time of darkness or in a time of a torment or whatever you're feeling, and it could be just small things, like the other day when I was doing what I was doing, it's just like sitting there and going, okay, identifying it, and then meditating on peace and letting that peace surround you and enfold you and become part of you. And the fact that he says at the end that this is a practical thing. I love that, because it's like spiritual is practical. It's a practical way of doing things. So I'm going to just list just going to list 4 things. I'm not going to chat about them because we all know what they are, but I'm going to list 4 actions that we can do to cultivate God's peace within. So 1 is what Brene Brown was focusing on, is integrate your negative emotions. So don't ignore them, but integrate them into your life. And that means addressing them, finding ways that you can address them that is safe for you, that helps you move through those emotions. That's developing your emotional maturity. The second thing, and I love this because it's practicing gratitude. So it was so cool at the beginning when there was quite a few saying, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. And I'm like, gratitude and peace go hand in hand. So the practice of gratitude is something that brings about peace. The third thing is ask. Ask God. Ask the greater power. Ask Spirit to fill you with peace. That's all you have to do. And the fourth thing, like Ernest Holmes reminds us, is to meditate on peace, focus on peace. And those four things is a way to cultivate peace within. We will find that the ability to handle challenges before us is easier when we've cultivated peace within us. And so it doesn't make those challenges go away or the painful situations go away, but it allows us to be clearer minded in how we might handle them. It allows us to move forward and regain our power, regain our grace, regain clearer intentions. And I want to close with a brief story about I break up horribly with people. So I was engaged once and that broke up. I was married for 14 years and that broke up. And then I had a couple longer term boyfriends and then a really long term boyfriend. Those things all ended. And you know what? Almost all those, I fall apart. And I'm like, what is this about? It's like, I don't have time to fall apart and carry on with life and stuff like that. Well, I noticed this last time when I broke up from this long-term relationship. It's like, I knew how to handle it. I was heartbroken. I was hurt, but I knew how to sit with my emotion. I'm like, I'm gonna move through this. And I did. I did a lot of sitting with my emotions and dealing with them and addressing them and acknowledging them and feeling them. And I thought it was great because within a few months, I was like moving on, um, and then I was able to pack up and move, and I moved to Pennsylvania, and I'm ready to go. And the thing that was so fun is that after I got through that initial the trauma and the initial pain and stuff, it was like I had very clear visions of where I was going and what I wanted to do with my life, and it was a totally different place. And I'm only going to say that because I learned how to do that through those other breakups, and I'm like, okay, this was really cool to see myself in this more mature, emotionally mature place where I could handle what was happening and I wasn't afraid of falling apart. I wasn't afraid of losing it. I wasn't afraid of losing everything. It's like, okay, you've got some choices, and here's what I want to do. And I felt very, very at peace with the decisions I made and the way I handled so much stuff. And I'm just like, this was a great feeling for me. And I think, okay, yeah, if we don't learn, or if I don't learn while I'm going through life, I would say it might not have been worth it. So this is my song, Let Me Be the Love, that I want to play. So I'm going to start it, but if you cannot hear it, would somebody say something? I have it set, so we should be able to hear it.
Let me be the love I want to receive, or let it flow through me abundantly. Let me be the love I want to receive, or let it flow as I breathe. Let me be the peace I want to receive, or let it flow through me abundantly. Let me be the peace I want to receive, or let it flow as I breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Love is love, love. Let it flow to the world. Let me be the love I want to receive, or let it flow through me abundantly. Let me be the love I want to receive. Oh, let it flow as I breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Love is love. Let it flow. That the world is full. Let me be the love. Let me be the love. Want to receive, or let it flow through me abundantly. Let me be the love I want to receive, or let it flow as I breathe. Let it flow as I breathe. Let it flow as I breathe.
So we're going to move into a time of meditation. And I want to start with a tactical breathing that I've seen before, but it's another one that Brené shows in her book. It's kind of like the square where you breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, hold it for 4, breathe in. So I want to start with that before I walk us through the meditation. So go ahead and breathe in, hold it, breathe out, hold it, breathe in, hold it, breathe out, hold it. And I want you just to continue that on your own so you don't have to listen to me talking, but go ahead and do some breathing in and breathing out and holding in between. So breathe slowly in, hold, breathe out slowly, hold. And as you do that, when you breathe in, I want you to breathe in peace. That nurtures the inner part of you. And then when you breathe out, I want you to breathe out peace. It's the peace that you share with the world. Now I want you to think about a feeling, an uncomfortable feeling that you've had today or this past week. If you can't this week, then you're welcome to go back further. But I want you to pick a feeling that you've had, even if you can't identify it, just know I felt uncomfortable. Did you feel unimportant? Did you feel slighted? Did you feel ignored? Felt irrelevant? What was just that feeling uncomfortable? And I want you to say, what is this? What is this? See if you can get a name for it. What is this? Even if you can't come up with a name for it just yet, I want you to think about, what is this feeling coming from? Where is this coming from? What's the root of this? What experience? What action? And you may not be able to, even if you can't go back to that, just even to like, what belief am I holding that brings this about? Don't judge what you're coming up with either. Just gather the information. See what fits. Now, what is this feeling telling you? You don't feel good enough. You feel like you made a mistake again. You feel like you're not worthy. You feel challenged. You feel helpless. What is this feeling that you're having telling you about yourself? Now I want to ask, is these things that this feeling is telling you about yourself, is it true? If you're feeling worthless, is that true? No, I'm going to tell you it's not. You're feeling unimportant. Is that true? No, it's not. Feeling like you always make the mistakes. Is that true? I don't think so. So, what is it that's telling you, and is that true? And if it's not, be strong with it. Say, no, that is not true. Own it. This is not true. I'm not going to believe this. The fourth part is just sitting with that emotion. I have this feeling. Just sit with it and acknowledge it. Be present with it. Don't push it away. Because it is telling you something. It is a sign. It is a signal. That's all it is. It is not you. It doesn't define you. And where that feeling existed, when you're ready, ask for peace to come in and fill you up. And with that peace, use it to reframe your thinking. I am at peace and I am worthy. I am at peace. I know I am worthwhile. I am at peace. I know I am loved. I am at peace. I know I can handle this situation. When you're ready, come on back to the group. And open up your chat if you don't have a chat yet. So let me read this again. Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid." What I'd like you to do, if you're willing, is to put in your new the reframe that you came up with. Put in, if you're willing to share, what your reframe is into the chat, and share that with us. If that you're not comfortable doing that or want to instead, please just put something that you're grateful for about yourself. So either a gratitude about yourself or a reframe. Thank you very much. Does that come up? Just go ahead and read them. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing.